In Gen 7, we were able to hop right back on the Rain team grind. Tentacruel has Rapid Spin and Toxic Spikes for standard support. Acid Spray often forces switches, and if it doesn't, then Hydro Pump can get some cheeky kills on weakened targets. Alternatively, we also gave Tentacruel the Z Crystal to truly grab some kills from left field with what everyone just assumes is a boring support tank. Liquid Ooze is also a lot of fun against Leech Seed, and overall, this is a nice supporting Pokemon who doesn't provide free setup thanks to Acid Spray, particularly against the frustrating Cosmic Power Clefable. We chose Pelipper as our rain setter with a fairly standard set. Scald and U-turn doing plenty of work with occasional burns and scouting. Roost keeping Pelipper healthy to repeatedly bring the rain, and Defog for extra hazard insurance. The only other option for a rain setter is Politoed. Unless it's Gen 5, we won't be caught using it. As a rain team, the obvious choice of Mega was Swampert. Waterfall, Earthquake, and Superpower are the standard moves, with the addition of Power Up Punch for setup opportunities or extra stats while finishing off kills. Rain boosted Waterfalls 2-hit KO most in the metagame, with bulky defensive staples like Skarmory, Celesteela, and Clefable being absolutely trashed by it. Other Pokemon that Rain traditionally struggles against, like Rotom Wash and Ferrothorn, are chunked heavily if sacrificing Swampert, which opens the door for the other sweepers, helping to pile on the offensive pressure. We've loved Ferrothorn so much that we brought him back again, this time with T-Wave instead of Toxic due to Toxic Spikes being on the team. Electrics and opposing waters are difficult to take advantage of, so having a sturdy defensive pivot that doubles as a hazard setter was essential role compression for an offensive team like this. The Azumarill serves as the late game sweeper, with a standard belly drum set providing a hyper-aggressive go button when needed. It paired exceptionally well alongside the other rain abusers, working together to wear down common checks like Ferrothorn, Rotom, and Toxapex. Azumarill's force damage on dedicated rain answers let other sweepers finish the game, despite how good of an answer they should be in theory. Lastly, Battle Bond Greninja went in our last slot. We gave it Scarf to outrun the likes of Scarp Blacephalon, Serperior, and Kartana, while having some insurance against setup threats like Shift Gear Magearna and Quiver Dance Volcarona. The standard attacking moves provide good coverage, and this meant another form of late game sweeping with a simple setup of Battle Bond. This team came together incredibly well, and it shows as our only team with a perfect 10-0 in this challenge. Putting the Z Crystal on Tentacruel was actually a big brain move. Since Tentacruel is well known as a support spinner, it caught people off guard, and Acid Spray into Hydro Vortex absolutely blew things up and created tons of pressure. The Azumarill with Belly Drum was able to sweep teams if they couldn't stop the setup, Greninja was able to reliably transform and put on the pressure, and Pelipper and Ferrothorn was a reliable supporting cast that set up the hyper offense of this team extremely well. The only one that didn't really overperform was Swampert, who was good offensively and fairly bulky, but just not quite as strong and reliable as one would want from a Mega. But the rest of the team's strengths more than made up for this and came out with a 10-0.
In Gen 8, we decided to continue the streak of rain teams, this time giving Tentacruel a bulky set. We have a magic number of 76 special defense to survive Choice Specs Dragapult from full, as well as survive most Volcarona Psychic at +2 even after rocks. And even get to spin off against most Zapdos variants with Rain Up thanks to Rain Dish and Black Sludge to give a large residual healing. We have Rapid Spin support, Toxic for anti-tank, and Acid Spray and Hydro Pump pair for kills. As a rain team, we need Pelipper, same as it as last time, we're not reinventing the wheel. Heavy duty boosts were a pretty appealing option, but the additional rain turns on such a fast-paced team was just too important to forfeit. We're also really enjoying the Ferrothorn train, this time with Body Press replacing Power Whip to deal with obnoxious Magna Zones, as well as take a more active role in dismantling the catch-all rain check Ferrothorn and Melmetal. Azumarill also made a return in our Rain core, using the same late game sweeper set. It is more difficult for Azumarill to slice holes in the opposing defensive core in this generation, unfortunately, as the prevalence of heavy-duty boots greatly improves the longevity of defensive Pokemon, particularly Zapdos and Slowbro. Greater effort to wear down Rain Answers must be taken in order to maximize Azumarill's threat level, but it can be done. This time, however, we got a new sweeper in Barraskewda. This ridiculous 136 base speed means we can run a Choice Band and still outrun most of the metagame. Close Combat and Psychic Fangs both provide surprisingly great coverage, the latter especially impressing in multiple games. Flip Turn made for some easy kills, and also has a possible lead or scout that leaves an impressive amount of damage behind. Finally, Liquidation with a high attack stat and Rain was the demise of multiple teams. And lastly, we have Magna Zone. This spams Thunder and Rain, traps with Magna Pull. You can even set up a nasty Iron Defense Body Press sweep on things that are trapped and can't hurt it. Especially fun against Ferrothorn. We did well in this gen, though a lot of our success was owed to Azumarill and Barraskewda doing their thing on the lower ladder. Tentacruel did okay, but the lack of the Z move really hurt its power output and ability to pick up surprise KOs. Everything being bulkier as well due to heavy duty boots made breaking through difficult, but it did find its place against the common Clefable to make progress on many games.
Scarlet and Violet committed the war crime of cutting Tentacruel from the roster, but that won't stop us. We threw in his new evil doppelganger, Toadscruel, instead. With his only ability of Mycelium Might, we gave him a support set, with new Rapid Spin doing actual damage and boosting speed, a couple of status moves including the 100% accurate Spore, and Giga Drain for attacking. Glamora was our spike machine, combined with Toadscruel to set up support for quite the offensive team. Its newly introduced ability, Toxic Debris, was good for setup against physical attackers, even if it got removed by the Common Clodsire and opposing Glamora. We also gave it Rest to heal, and Venoshock, since everything switching in would get poisoned by the Toxic Debris. We included Dragon Dancing Tyranitar, with Thunder Wave to spread the yellow magic. We gave him Lumberry to be able to sweep through an attempted status condition, along with Standard Crunch and Stone Edge to put in the work. Choice Band Qianpao turned out to be absolutely disgusting. Its great attacks and speed stats, along with a broken ability, allowed for huge damage and sweeping potential without any setup. Ice, Fighting, Dark, and Psychic gave coverage against a wide variety of types, and even against walls or resistances. this Pokemon still put up impressive damage, with lowering opposing defensive stats with its ability. Next up, we have Dragapult. Scarfs allows us to outrun just about everything our other threats can't, along with Infiltrator, bypassing any pesky screens and substitutes. Ghost typing allows us to have a spin blocker if needed, and also immediately U-turn out after blocking it. Ghost, Dragon, and Fire types are now added to our powerful, diverse offensive arsenal. Finally, we have Breloom. This thing clutched multiple games and turned out to be quite the Chad. Technician and Life Orb allowed Bullet Seed to do disgusting amounts of damage, along with Mach Punch to finish things off. Finally, Rock Tomb and Thunder Punch give more range, giving us 11 attacking types across our 4 threats. We don't often get lucky here, but the Bullet Seed RNG always clutched up when we needed it, and made for some hype finishes in games. This gen, we went 9-1. The offensive suite we have was quite hype and made for fun games. In almost every gen, Tentacruel was fairly useful, even surprising us in Gen 1 and 7 with how good it was. But in Gen 9, we just couldn't seem to get Toadscruel to do much despite the rest of our team being quite successful, which shows that there is no substitute. The imposter is a fraud, and only the real OG Jellyfish, Pokemon number 73, reigns supreme.